where India stands, given the fact that we are looking at the manufacturing renaissance taking place, the fact that there is a capex that is resurgent. Where does India stand at the current juncture?
I think from an economic cycle perspective, we've just started a new economic cycle, and I think it has many more legs for a nice run. We've actually made significant changes to policies over the past few years, which has set the stage for this resurgent economy. It will likely be led by investments, so I think you should expect pretty strong private capex. Government capex has already been good, and I think that will stay at good levels. So it's an investment-led recovery in the economy. Its concomitant effect will be on increasing loan growth. The starting point of corporate balance sheets are very good. Corporate debt to GDP has declined considerably over the past 4-5 years. So I think we are in the midst of a loan boom. And I think we should also see pretty good conditions for consumption. Though I think, as I said, investments will likely lead the economy in the next few years.
Talking points in there, Ridham. But tell me, how's the mood when it comes to India on the sidelines of the conference? Is the Josh high when it comes to India? What have you been gathering?
So let me actually talk about interactions going past the past, say, 6-7 months. It would seem that from all areas, there is very deep interest in increasing stakes in India. So whether it's private equity funds, whether it is multinational companies, or it is foreign portfolio investors. And I think we are seeing interest from everywhere. And the interest levels actually are significantly higher than I've ever seen, especially when we talk about long-term investors like private equity funds and multinational boards. So I've been interacting with more people in the last 6 months than I cumulatively have over the past 10 or 12 years. And I think all this will translate into pretty strong flows in the coming months, especially on the long-term side. Foreign portfolio investors are also driven by conditions in other markets and expectations elsewhere. And as emerging markets seem to stage a recovery October last year, India started underperforming, especially given how depressed the valuations were in places like Korea, Taiwan, and China. That outperformance or underperformance for India ended in March. We saw pretty good correction in relative valuations, and I think the momentum is now shifted back to India, and you are seeing it in terms of flows. So the foreign portfolio money tends to look at India from a more short-term perspective, but even that short-term looks encouraging. I mean, the earnings season that has gone by has produced pretty strong earnings, and I think the outlook for earnings remains very strong. And India is one of the very few places on the planet where earnings growth will be well into double digits. So I think it will attract money, both short-term as well as long-term.
Are there any sort of concerns around rich valuations, or I should say relatively rich valuations as compared to our other global peers?
Yeah, the headline multiple, both absolute and relative, are high, and that has been a constant pushback for investors. But as I keep telling them, because we have a strong growth story, and the market knows that, it's not oblivious to the fact that there is a strong earnings story for India. It will always look like it was attractive with hindsight. So when you go forward 1 year, you'd say, oh, way back in April last year or May last year, valuations were quite okay because there's so much growth that India has generated. So I think this is the nature of a new earnings cycle, which is that it is very difficult to get low headline multiples measured as PE ratios, by PE ratios or price to book ratios. And that challenge will remain for investors. They'll have to look through that and make a slight, they'll have to actually rely on their confidence about the future in order to jump into stocks. But that challenge remains, and I don't think it is going to go away very soon.